Hello, everybody, if anybody's on. Hello, Mr. Hugh Spruce. Oh boy, people are joining now. Hey, Scott, Dimitri, Jack, John, Virginia. Oh wow, everybody's chiming in. Hey guys, all the way from Portugal. This is really live, David. Hi, Dirk. I don't really have a no, this is not pre-recorded. I will be doing a bunch of pre-recorded stuff um, this week because I will be gone Friday, Saturday, and most of the day Sunday. So pretty much everything on those days when I post it up will be pre-recorded. Hello, Dustin. I can't. The comments are coming fast. Tennessee Mike chiming in. I want your case, Casio, man. Yeah, those G-men are pretty sweet. I have zero regrets. South Florida, much nicer and warmer there, that's for sure. Kind of cold up here in northern Michigan, but yeah, I really do like having those G-men. I know they're toys, but I mean everything's a toy if you play with it, I guess, right? But um, they're kind of silly purchases, but I think being in this hobby, I think you kind of have to make some of these silly purchases to just like go all in. I think I don't know. It's just the way I pretty much do my hobbies. I do all the accessories, and everything. I am going to that Chicago show. I cannot remember the name of it. It's I don't know why I always forget. Somebody, the Floridian maybe that lives in Chicago, will chime in and remind us all what the show is called. But it's um, it's mostly micro brands. There is G-Shock's going to be there. Oris is going to be there, which I don't think you can really call Oris a micro brand. Yeah. Well, Hugh, I appreciate that, and I try to just put out as many videos of the many watches as I can, and hopefully people can, use that information to decide if it's something that they're interested in purchasing. It just helps them, you know what I mean? David asked if I will be picking up the new G-Shock titanium case. I'm gonna say we'll see if there's one at the show and when G-Shock's there and when I talk to him, But first inclination, I'm gonna answer that as no, and partly because it's just not where I'm at. I'm kind of wearing the bigger G-Shocks and the Pro Treks and stuff like that, but also I'm slightly disappointed because I'm pretty sure it's like a coated black case. No, it's not even the price. That sucks, but it's not even the price is what's stopping me. What's stopping me is I would rather it be, titanium looking, where it has a little bit of grayness to it, like this citizen or something. Or if how about this? If they're gonna charge $1,500 for a G-Shock Square, which is there's no new technology there other than they used a different material. How about they send it through the line that the MRG and the MTG goes through? Because this is titanium, and you can see they did some amazing finish work on it, but yet it still looks of titanium. So if they were to do something like that and charge 1,500, I mean, maybe even charge even more if they needed to, then maybe you have something. But if you're gonna just throw, you know, a titanium version of this watch out there essentially and charge 1,500 for it, eh, I don't know. I'm not extremely and coat it in black. I'm not extremely interested. Zelos will be there. I'll definitely be stopping. I'm gonna stop by probably all of the booths or as many as I can. Um, Andrew, I'll answer the Kickstarter thing. Let me. There's the Floridian that lives in Chicago. Let me get past this G-Shock titanium thing because I've had quite a few people ask me my thoughts on it or if I'm going to purchase it and everything like that. But bottom line is, I'm not hung up on the price. If they were to do more, being titanium alone, I don't think is enough. Randy, that's the probably one of the main reasons I actually finally ordered my business cards through Vistaprint is so I could take them to the show. So I can, it's just easier because I know they're going to be busy with actual customers or new people or watch fans or whatever like that. I really wish these shows would do like a media day where people like me or who whatever organizations could kind of come in, or at least maybe they don't need a whole day, but they need some time to interact with the vendors or the owners and stuff like that without the distraction of the show itself. Bruce is not going. Um, will I? So after this show, I've started setting money aside. I will be flying out and visiting Bruce, and we'll do something. Um, the Momentum watch. Nope, sold it. I finally sold that watch. So, hello, Mr. Zerby. All right, so I kind of held off a question on someone else's. I already forgot what it was. I should write this stuff down. I need help. So ask your questions. If that one that I've said, hold on a second, if it pops back in my head, I'll address it. But I kind of glossed over it. Orient to Mako. Oh, Kickstarter. Tennessee Mike. Hold on. I'll get back to the Orient and I'll set this Orient right in front of me. So we'll talk about Orient. So Kickstarter watches, use caution, because just because it's on Kickstarter doesn't mean it's a bad watch or a bad company. They're just using a known platform for crowdfunding. That's just where we're at in today's society. So I have bought watches on Kickstarter that were like not good. Um, and I'm not even going to say what it was. But that I will say this, that exact brand that I originally bought that was a regretted Kickstarter purchase, later on and even currently are actually putting out watches that look really good. And I'm interested in checking those out now. So they've grown as a company and developed, but you have to have some capital to start, and Kickstarter will give you that boost. Um, the Hamilton Kraken 2. Hold on a second. You brought that up. I actually have one right here. Hold on. I think I have one right here. No, not that one. So for example, the Hamilton Kraken, this guy here is a good example. Yes, he did crowdfunding, but this is a legitimate good watch. Hey, Michael. So Ross did a really good job on this, and he knew he did a really good job on it because the first one was a hit, and all he did was a few improvements on that first one, and to come to the this iteration, the revision, and it's a legit good watch. Everybody that bought one is going to be happy with it. I don't know if they're shipping or already shipped. This is a prototype here. I have to get it back to Ross at some point, but in the meantime, it's just sitting here. Boulder watches, again, Boulder watch, maybe some of the earlier ones were slightly questionable. I don't know. But like I just received this Boulder Expedition in, and this is a killer watch. I really like this watch, especially in this full lume dial. So it's really good value proposition. So don't not buy Kickstarter watches just because they're on Kickstarter. Do your homework. If it seems too good to be true, then it is. But if it's just it looks like a really good package and the price is really affordable, then that's probably what you're dealing with. You're probably dealing with a Hampton or a Boulder or whatever. A lot of these companies have started on there, so I'm not sure all of them. I don't even look on Kickstarter anymore, but some Marty, hold on. We'll talk about the SKX in a second. But some brands contact me with information that they're going on Kickstarter. So, and I try to take a look at them, and if they look good, I try to bring them in. But sometimes, even when they come in here, I filter them right back out. So, you know what, Floridian, I kind of wondered if that would happen, and that goes back to an old story, and I forget who I was talking to about the Hampton. I kind of figured that would happen. But I was one of the people, if you guys have ever, if you're old school Kickstarter, if you've ever heard of the Coolest, you guys know what the Coolest is? This cooler that has all these gadgets and everything like that. Well, they sold like too many. So when somebody throws it on there and it has way too much success, the logistics involved with producing a much higher number and shipping than what you anticipated, um, can like screw you up. Ross is probably pulling his hair out right now. That's how many watches he sold. So you would think Ross's cost of the production would go down, but at a certain point, it actually flip flops, and it kind of screws him because now he can't do it himself. Like he has to hire people, and he has to so it throws his margins all off. So I feel for Ross right now. I really do. Yeah, Ross is probably stressing the hell out right now. And all he was trying to do is get us all a really nice titanium dive style watch for an affordable price. And he did that, but he did like it went too big. And I'm not sure if even if he would have charged more, if it really would have changed anything other than he would have maybe had a little bit more capital to hire some help. So, yeah. So, and if you guys really feel bad for Ross, get involved in that Kickstarter level. And I did this even with I did with the Coolest, and a bunch of us got together and we proposed, say, hey, how about we give you like an extra $50 or $20 or whatever like that? Will that help you? And then that bumps you up on the list, so maybe you'll get yours first. I'm just throwing it out there because sometimes that's all Ross might need is just a little more help. Okay, so I already forgot who asked it, but somebody's dealing with a Seiko SKX 171, which is an amazing version of the SKX, where it basically had applied looked um, indices on a black dial, and it has a black day and date wheel. They're actually kind of went way up in price. They're really sought after, at least the dial or the whole watch. But I'm not sure if he has it, but it has like a weird starfish type bezel instead of an inlaid. But you can swap it out because it's the same case. Sounds like he's got a scratched Hardlex. So I mean, you could pop the Hardlex out, put a new Hardlex in. I mean, I have a stack of them sitting here. If you want to do a Hardlex, email me. I can probably send you one. It's not a big deal if you want to try that. But sapphire crystals are really not that much money, even if you buy it or have your watchmaker do it if you can find it. If you can't, so you've owned it for like 20 years. If you can't find anybody locally to do it and you want somebody trustworthy to do it, I've been telling everybody to contact Loom Shot. So whether you like the flat, like if you're going to keep it the way it is, I would kind of go with the flat, but be careful with that because I've seen some of them where the flat kind of like submerges down a little bit. So make sure you do a little bit of homework on the crystals, which one you're going to use, and see actual pictures of them in an SKX watch so you know exactly what it's going to look like. But if you don't have anybody locally to you that you trust or can find to do it, hit up Loom Shot. He's very trustworthy and he does excellent work. And you can send it to him, and that's a simple mod. He'll swap out the crystal or something like that. Whatever you need to do. So, all right, where are we at? I think I addressed some of the questions that I was able to catch. So if new ones come up, these are some of the watches. Well, I already did a video on that. I do need to do an update video on that. Knocked over my super hatch there. I still need to do the MRG video. I'm going to do a video on the Crafter blue fitted strap. This watch sold, but the new owner. Okay, so you just asked about the Zeppelin Moon watch, which is a quartz watch, but is probably one of the coolest looking quartz watches, I believe, out there. I've wanted to check out one of the Zeppelin watches because just their dial layout and their font and then their handset. I'm actually a big fan of them, but I've never had one in my hands. So I do have bass player just asked about this watch. This video will be going up probably early this week. This is a really awesome watch. Homer sent this in. I just pushed the crown in and it woke up, but I mean, it hits the marks really good. It's insanely accurate. Yeah, it's a pretty killer watch. Might actually even throw it on wrist. Somebody just asked what my pick would be in the $200 range. Is that what the question was? Let's see, Pierce Crystal Press for, so we can get back to price points and different watches. That's a really hard topic to get into. So for sometimes if I can't push the bezel on to the case, I will use this press because I can feel it and I can modulate. And you got to be careful doing it. But you can see the dies I have in here. I actually use this one for removing crystals, and then I use my red screw down press for pressing in the crystals. And then I'll try to use this one for popping the bezels on. But I've also used my red press for pushing the bezels on. So the Trasca Summiteer is an awesome watch. Again, that's an excellent value proposition. Um, I don't like to compare it to other models because I do kind of feel like it's its own thing. But yeah, uh, the Trasca watches are really good. All right, so I'm gonna try to catch a few of these. I've done a bunch of videos on the Shinola. I I don't really have a problem with Shinola. I know a lot of people have a problem with Shinola, and I just don't. I'm hoping to actually get one of their automatic divers in here soon. A viewer was going to send it in for me to video, so hopefully I'll have that in soon. I will address the question about the G-Shock, the new G-Shock Square, that is basically all they did was kind of they took the basic standard square, not even this one. I don't even know. I don't know where my basic one is. I have a standard one somewhere, but they took the standard one with the regular, screw down, not the screwed case back like this, but just the one where the four screws holding it down. And they basically took like a metal cap and put it over it, and then they have the rubber strap going on it, which the aftermarket, I forget what companies made it in the aftermarket, but the aftermarket has always, well, not always, but has at least recently been providing some really good bracelets and caps to go over the squares and all different colors and everything like that. So I don't know if G-Shock just finally said, you know what, we're missing the boat on this, and let's just do our own and offer it right from the get-go. So I kind of have wondered if that's what happened. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I think if you want the metal G-Shock Square, then get the metal G-Shock Square. Go all in. Otherwise, just buy a cheap one and throw one of those other. I don't know. I'd have to see one, in person to render a verdict on it. But um, unless they're going, I will say this: unless they're going with the oversized buttons, like on the metal one, you can see, then I would say maybe it was worth it. But if it still has these smaller buttons, then I just don't get it. Go with the full metal one like this. I don't think you'll regret it. The price, I can't imagine the price being. I know it's probably a lot more because you're talking $500, whereas those other ones are probably like just over three, maybe. So it is a lot more money, but it's a lot more watch, I think, in my opinion. Hey, Bobby. All right. I just remembered somebody asked about the Orient, but they were asking about probably the Orient Mako and Ray 2. This one, of course, has the extra crown here. I think he was asking about the standard one. Great watches. I think my only gripe with the newer Orients or even these older ones is this crown size. This one doesn't seem too bad. I always feel like they're a little too small, but I don't know. It's, this one's a little wobbly. They don't feel as robust as the SKX. So I think for that reason, I've always chosen the SKX over the Orient. But the Orient is a really nice watch, and they make some really good looking models too. So that is for sure. Bobby Smith, Detroit killing it early. Oh, is there a football game going on? Or something? I don't know about swapping. I don't know about swapping different movements over to different cases. I've talked to a few people about doing it, about doing like maybe an ETA movement or something into a SKX case, but I've never played with it. It's, to me, I don't know, just not worth it. But like there's some work involved to do it. I'm sure it could be done, but like this Boulder has the Sellita SW200 in it, and you can see the case size of it. So like I'm sure the movement would fit, but you need, you know, you're gonna have to do some work. So, but it would probably fit. All right. Is anybody else going to that Chicago show? Is anybody near Chicago? I know Floridian is near there, but still have to do this watch as well. So these are some of the watches that'll be on video this week, hopefully. That's sacrilege. Yeah, but what if it's not an SKX? What if it's an aftermarket case like this? Then it's not Seiko, right? So Bobby Smith is in Chicago. You gonna go to that show, Bobby? I've done a couple Boulder vids. I've done a video on this Boulder here, so this Boulder will end up probably on a sale video soon. So this is a killer Seiko that my buddy Doug sent in. I don't know why, but this one just looks really cool. I think I like Roman numbers on it. This is a SARX 029er. Well, it's free to go. I mean, if you got the time, obviously, the show. But I know sometimes it's hard to sneak that stuff in. Bracelets, okay. Bracelets maybe a slight letdown, but the watch itself is actually really cool. I like the handset and the crescent on the back side of the seconds hand. So yeah, I'll be there. Hopefully, you know, if somebody spots me or whatever, I'll be wearing my Seiko nickname hoodie. I should be, as long as it's not crazy in there or whatever. Oh, I left my, I always have a Pro Trek sitting around now, but Grand Seiko, awesome watches. I've checked out a bunch of them actually, and I've never bought one. They've never been enough intriguing for me to pull the trigger on one. But for some reason, I think I prefer you can't stop being addicted to monsters. I have not looked at the new Seaward military release watches. Well, okay, so what is on the wrist? I wore this. I wore this today. Yesterday I was wearing, wait, what is today? Today's Monday. Yeah, I wore this today. No, I didn't. I wore my Pro Trek Safari watch today, and when I got home I switched over to this. That's what it was. Let's just sell them all. All right, I'm trying to catch up with some of these. Yeah, I really like this. The titanium, the lightness, the accuracy of it. It's become a pretty good grab and go type watch. Cleaning bracelets, soap and water under the sink, tap. That's all you need to do. You could use a dish, you know, a soft towel or something like that. I don't even really wash my watches a ton. I rotate through them pretty good. Sometimes I'll just give them a wipe with one of these. But I've had watches sent in that were kind of grimy, and you just spend a little bit of time with soap and water, and you'd be surprised it'll clean it right up. So, and any, you know, like, okay, so how do we look at the show? I don't know how crazy busy it's going to be at the show, but I will be wearing my black hoodie with the Seiko nickname characters on both sleeves. So I'm guessing I'll be the only one there wearing that. So that'll be me. I'm guessing that's what I'll be. And I'll probably not be sitting in one spot very long. I don't like to sit in one spot very long. But if somebody over at G-Shock will talk to me, I'll probably hang out there for a little while. I'll just wipe them all off. Nah, I mean, I live in Michigan. I'm not big into sports and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I don't have, hey, Retro World, I don't have any MM200s. I've only bought one of those, I think. But I've had a bunch of them come in. Um, so the MM200s, all the different colorways, but just like everything else, I just do them for video and then they go out. So a lot of them, um, they're not mine. I don't keep them, so they go. Um, the blue watch straps. This is the Orient Ray first gen, I think, and then this is a Richard LeGrand, I think, or something like that. So I haven't done the video on that one yet. I will. I probably won't do a video on the Orient. That's already been done to death. I probably won't do a video on it. I mean, I could do a video on every watch that comes in here, but let's see. Oris Aquis. I like most of them if they're just the 3 hands and a regular date. I don't like the other ones where they're a little bit fancier date. I think somebody else asked too, how many times a day do I change my watch? I usually don't. Well, I put this watch on a little bit ago. I forgot I did that, but yeah, I've had the MM200, or all the different variants of it. Yeah, they keep popping up. I think my buddy Doug just sent one in. I sold that. I had that black one that was pretty rare. The Oris lineup is pretty awesome. There's a bunch of Oris watches that I really like. The Oris, the pointer date one, I really like that. I bought one of those a while ago off from, Homer, that actually owns this watch. I bought one of those Oris off him, and I really like that. The Oris Aquis, I've had one on the channel, and I would like to probably buy one. That might be a watch that I don't know how these shows work, but Oris is one that I might buy at the show. I would like to try a Oris Aquis, an Oris Aquis on bracelet in the 43.5 millimeter. I have a feeling that's going to be a really nice watch on my wrist. I know I'm missing questions, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch some here and there, but Seiko 5 Sports lineup. If you're talking about the 5KX, I don't like it, but I still want to see one. I should review the new Casio BEM something something something. Buy it and send it to me, and I'll show it. I don't know. I'm trying not to buy watches right now because I'm paying for my kids' college, and I'm pretty well stacked right now with watches that I don't want to sell. So I kind of I need to wear the ones I have. So I'm also coming up on, you guys maybe are paying attention, but I'm also coming up on my 25,000 sub range. That might happen soon. Like, I want to wear this watch more. I still have to pick what watch I'm going to wear. Oh, Oris. I did the Oris 65 as a whole. I actually don't really care for the Oris 65. So straight up, I really don't even like the Oris 65. So an Oris 65 with bronze bezel, I still don't like it. It doesn't do anything for me. So basically, Oris 65 is a dud to me. It's probably a great watch. I think I've at least checked out one or more, but yeah, first world problems, right? Well, and I'm trying to wear, and I know this sounds a little messed up, but when people send watches in for me to video and show you guys, just bring the ones. No, because somebody's gonna try to swipe one off my wrist. I want to wear my Orange Monster, but I am legitimately afraid of like it getting like lost or something. Plus, when you go to these shows, I think it's wise to wear it on your off wrist, which is not something I like doing. So wearing it on my right So that way, if I want to try on a watch, my regular wrist, my left wrist, is open to try out a new watch. So we'll see. I probably won't. I don't know what I'll bring. Who knows? I'll probably end up wearing a Pro Trek or something. Tudor Pelagos, awesome watch, straight up. I prefer the older one, but not. I don't really care how many lines are on um, the spinnakers are pretty cool. I got one over here actually that I'll probably do a video on soon too. But I really don't care how many lines of text are on the watch. I mean, it's a cleaner dial, obviously the older one, but I really like the older one for two reasons. One, it's a thinner watch, and thinner just adds to the comfort level. And two, it's an ETA movement. So servicing, which I've never actually serviced a watch, and I know everyone talks about these servicing fees, but most people don't service their watches. We all worry about it and talk about it, but like really, there's 126 people watching right now. Have any of you guys ever serviced a watch? There's probably like 2 or 3% of the people that are watching right now that have actually serviced their watch. I don't know how many watches I've had. I've never serviced one. So why do we worry about it, guys? Right. Like it's such a small percentage. And maybe it's because we flip them because whatever, or like I'm a flipper for life for sure. But and like even my orange monster, it probably could use a little tune up. If I'm dead honest about it, I have not even thrown it on the time grapher, partially because just ignorance is bliss. I don't know that I want to know, but I'll wear it. Like I'll wear it probably. It's really actually pretty rare. It's real like once a month, maybe I'll wear it. And it runs slow. I know it runs slow, but it doesn't run slow enough where it's gonna like throw me off. But I don't run such a tight schedule with anything I do with work or anything like that that I need to worry about that necessarily. Like if I'm within 5 or 10 minutes, I'm not saying it's running that bad. It's probably running like maybe 30 seconds slow a day. So it's not horrific, but at some point I'm probably gonna have to service it. And I'll at that point, I'm sure I will have a watchmaker that I trust to have it done. And like I sent this Zamba out to Bruce, and his watchmaker took care of it, and I'm 100% happy with his service on it. So um, if it gets to the point where I feel like I need to send it somewhere, I'll probably send it to him because for one, if somebody like offered a service where like did a total refresh, you know how like if you send in like an Omega or a Rolex or something like that, where they do like this, where they clean everything up and it looks brand new. I don't want that. Like see how scratched up that is and everything like that. I don't want that fixed. I could have changed a bracelet out at any point. I have spare bracelets laying around. Like I could have swapped the case if I wanted to. I could put a sapphire in this because this one's scratched. That's not what I'm after. If I do a service, all I want done is I want the water resistance verified and I want the movement running within factory specs. That's it. I don't want anything like fixed, like as far as um, scratches and stuff like that. Those are my scratches. I'm keeping those scratches. But yes, Sean Vega. Have you ever bought a piece, then said, "What was I thinking?" Absolutely. And I bet you everybody else that could probably chime in that has had at least 10 or 15 watches. I don't know how many watches it takes to get to that point. But I've actually said that way early on. And that goes back to our Kickstarter campaign talk. I've done that way early on. And I've done it even more recently. I've done it. I've bought a watch and I convinced myself maybe that it was just amazing and I really wanted to try it. And I don't want to say even with saying So hold on a second. Even was saying, what was I thinking? I made a mistake. This was wrong. I need to get rid of this immediately. There's two different ways that's happened. So I've done that before. Ah, man, wish I could remember what watch it was. I did that with a watch once and flipped it immediately. And then I've done it with a watch once before where I said, hold on, give it time. I threw it in my watch box and I let it sit for like 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks later, I popped it on wrist. I gave it an opportunity. I cannot remember what watch this was. And I actually came around to it. It was at I don't know why I can't think of what watch it was. I ended up really liking the watch, whatever it was. So sometimes your initial emotion of just like, holy crap, I screwed up. I should not have bought this. And sometimes it can be like how expensive it was. I've certainly done that before too. I've spent way more than my comfort level and just not cool. And sometimes it was just like maybe I was just like, I'm trying to force a style that that's not me. Um, and sometimes you just got to let those go. You got to sell them or whatever. Uh, like I'm not into dress watches. So like I look at like my buddy Doug sent like this watch and this watch in. Okay. Amazing looking watches. And when I first get these in, I look at them and I'm like this one right here, for example. This one's really cool too. Okay. But like this one right here, I get this one in and I look at this and I'm like, I want it. It looks awesome. But realistically, I'm never going to wear this watch. I'm just not going to wear it. So there's been cases in the past where I've tried to force this style or this kind of watch on me, but after doing it a few times, now I know that initial reaction of seeing this watch and going like, I'm just going to buy this off Doug. Like I suppress that and I'm like, no, no, somebody else needs to buy this watch that wears these watches on the regular. You know what I mean? Like maybe they have to dress up a little bit and they go into an office or something. This is the watch for them. For me and my style and my work, this is the watch for me. So it takes a while to understand, what really works for you and what fits with you and hopefully avoid some of those regrettable purchases. And yeah, and Meta just pointed out, divers, yeah, you can get away with a lot of things with divers. Like, when you buy a diver like this, no, this is not going to work for like 99% of the people out there. Okay. But when you buy a diver like, this, you can clean this up. You can throw it on a NATO, you can throw it on a bracelet, you can throw it on a silicone. You can wear this in different occasions and it's going to be fine. It's a little more universal, but when you commit to like an orange dial diver, then it's kind of tricky. So, Retroworld asked about the Tag Aqua Racer 43 millimeter. I really like the watch. I want to like it to the point where I want to own one, but I've brought in, well, first of all, I don't think I would do the 43. I would only do the 41 and a half, I think it is. But this is a Barton strap. Somebody asked about the silicone. Barton actually makes really good straps, guys, and pretty affordable. If you notice, they actually kind of humped that out, so it's going to have a natural curvature. That's a nice little bonus. But the Tag Heuer, I did bring in one not too long ago, and it was like I had some stuff on the dial or on one of the hands or something like that. There was some quality control issues with it, and it was brand new, but it was the 41.5 mil. I like the dual lume. I like the fact that it's not an Omega Seamaster, and it's just, I really gravitate towards the watches that others don't gravitate toward. So, and hopefully I don't know if that's obvious, but like it kind of seems obvious to me, and I don't do it like intentionally. I think I just, when somebody gravitates toward a particular watch, it almost like makes me recoil a little bit. And I'm just like, no, no, no. Like too many people are going to be into that. I don't want to be into that. I want to do my own thing. So that's why I end up with stuff like this, where there's 124 people tuned in right now. There might be one or two of you that would be like, yeah, I'd rock that. But the other 120 20 some people are going to be like, hell no. They're going to be like, yeah, it's really cool, but no way, not going to happen. Whereas if you jump over to an SKX, then it's pretty universally loved. So yeah, exactly. The Zamba is just, it's one of those things where people are like, Yeah, that's pretty wild, but gross." So, whereas, you have all these safe watches. I don't really care about safe watches. I'm the type of guy that will go drop $2,600 on, I didn't pay that for this, but I potentially could for a G-Shock. Whereas again, there's a ton of people out there that'd be like, "You paid what for that?" No, you could have bought an Omega Speed or a Seamaster. Like legitimately, you could have went and bought um, so many other watches that are not even arguably, like if you were to do a pro and cons on a board, you would just like all the watches that I pretty much have that I gravitate toward, they would be over here, and people would eliminate them from their decision making. So when everybody else excludes all those watches from those price categories and everything like that, basically I'm over there picking up the scraps. I love those ones. Those are the ones I like. But case in point, I mean, look at this. Again, everybody watching right now probably looks at this and goes, "Yeah, no, that's gross. No way I'd wear that." I'll rock this thing every day. I don't care. I think it looks awesome. I like the two-tone. I like the digital. Plus, it has a history. It has a little bit of story with me personally. Um, but yeah, I mean, most people are just nah. And you guys say you'd wear it, but you don't own one. You don't wear it. So maybe if I sent this one to you, you'd probably wear it. But I look at a lot of these watches and go like, yeah, I'd wear it. And guess what? Boom, I buy it, and I do wear it. You know, the gold G-Shock Square. You guys know I gravitated towards the full chrome one and stuff like that. I uh, Bruce sent me his gold one, the Bling Master, one time. It like instantly, I opened it up, I popped it on my wrist, and I'm like, no way, the chrome one's gone. I'm buying the gold one. I actually picked up a second one. So the gold Bling Master is 100% a hit for me. So, but I know, like again, it's the minority. It's not the majority that would pick that watch. I can bring a couple watches. Like if I can bring, yeah, I'm gonna bring a couple watches to the show. Like the Floridian's gonna be like, yeah, let me check that out. He's gonna pop it on his wrist, and then I'm gonna turn and talk to somebody else, and I'm gonna be like, I don't know who the Floridian is, but he just took my watch. But as long as it wasn't my Orange Monster, I'd probably just laugh about it because there's more. I can go buy another one. These are on eBay all the day long. Like I would not be heartbroken. I'm not tied to this watch like I am this watch. The Orange Monster is the only one that would be like, I would probably track you down, like from the movie Taken or whatever. So any of these other watches, like I would probably just laugh. I'd be like, well played, sir. Well played. They're just watches, guys. We all get too bent out of shape out of them. Seriously, don't get bent out of shape out of this stuff. Have fun with it. Buy something. You know what? I challenge you. Go buy something that you wouldn't normally buy. And if you haven't recently bought a watch and got it and went like, oh man, I made a mistake, do it. Like, seriously, who cares? Or do what I did. Like, I don't, I wish I could remember what watch it was, but I threw it in my watch box, and it was probably a more expensive watch. Um, Man, I don't remember what it was. I wish I could remember, but I threw it in my watch box for like 2 weeks. Yeah, go buy a watch. Tomorrow's video, I will talk to you about not buying a watch. So don't listen. Okay, first off, don't listen to anything I say. Second off, go buy a watch. And then tomorrow, I'm going to tell you don't buy a watch. You guys just got to do your own thing. That's really what it comes down to. Everybody's got their own path. I'm over here wearing G-Shock Frogmen and stuff like that. And then Michael's got me looking at crazy rare expensive ones and stuff like that. But then, you know, it lasts for a little while. It gives me something to do. I research them a little bit and stuff like that. And all right, Christopher asks my thoughts on the Bertuni. That's the you know what? I have not had one of those on the show. That's the field style watches with the it's not a spring bar, but I guess I don't know what else to call it other than a spring bar. The spring bar is actually part of the case, right? So basically, you have to do a single pass or a NATO strap or something on them. So those are really cool watches. I've seen quite a few of those in the wild. I think they're really good. I would definitely go for one in. Again, I know I'm a little biased towards titanium. I know they have some titanium ones. I think they maybe even have some like polymer or carbon type ones. Yeah, integrated spring bars. Think pinkish. Um, I think those are really killer field watches, and they have some like stupid cheap ones, and then they have a little bit higher end ones. I would probably try to go middle to high on those. I don't know if I'd go the cheap end on those. Um, would you say Floridian? I don't have a watch box. So I have two watch boxes, which Homer gifted me one, and that fits 12 watches. Right now it really only has like 3 or 4 in it. It's kind of empty. My nicer watch box that my family gave me for Christmas a few years ago, that holds 10, and that's always full or over full. There's always watches sitting around, and these are just my watches. And then, of course, there's the watches that are sent in for video. So, Mr. Zorro asked about thoughts on the Tissot um, diver. I have, you know what? It's another one I have not. I have a flea on my table. You get bugs in here occasionally. It's fine. I don't know. You're tracking bugs on my table. Um, so I have not had any of the. I don't think I've had any of the divers Tissot watches in yet. So I've had some other Tissot watches. They're great watches. It's the part of the Swatch group, so they're good watches. Period. But um, some of them are really big. I have not checked out the VAER. Gakoda was really good, and the Hamiltons are really good. So I kind of do the same thing. I forget who just mentioned that, but a lot of my G-Shocks I really don't count. When you start getting, I kind of have to count like the MRG and the MTG as watches, because you're talking that's a $900 watch, that's a $2,600 watch. I can't ignore the fact that those are watches when they cost that much. But when I have, well, this isn't solar, but these are fairly affordable. I don't know why, for some reason, mentally, I'm able to exclude G-Shock watches, even though they might cost $200-300. I might be able to exclude them like mentally from being in my collection. Whereas, you spend $200 on an SKX, and that's a watch. It's in my watch box. I don't know. I don't get that phenomenon. I will say that the Protrex have also fit that category where they are kind of excluded from my collection because I have 3 of them right now, and I'm probably gonna buy a 4th one here soon. But that 4th one's like $600, so I'm trying to. Well, it's not that I just don't count them as. I get what you're saying, Michael. Like, I'm not I'm not saying they're not part of my collection because the G Shocks and the Casio Protrax are 100% part of my collection. And in many cases, if you were to pay attention to what I'm wearing, like if you were in the know, then you would know that they are probably the realistic part of my collection as far as what I actually wear, because I don't wear a lot of the watches that are actually sitting in my watch box over here with the 10 metal watches in there. Um, so it is again, it's a weird. I don't understand the logic behind it or lack of logic behind it, but it's just that's just the way I operate. And so for example, a watch like this might find its way into the center console of my work van, and I might leave it there for a week and not wear it, and it's my spare watch for some reason. Or it might find its way onto my nightstand and it might remain there for a week and not be, you know, put back in a certain area. They just kind of float around randomly, or it might end up on the, um, yeah, it might, they're just kind of work watches, I guess. Yeah. But if a certain amount of time goes by, I will recognize and be like, wait a minute, where did I put my Pro Trek, or my Safari one, or where's my MTG or whatever? Like I sent my MTG, I loaned it out to my buddy Jack, and a few days went by, and I'm like, ah, whatever, But like by the fourth or fifth day, I was just kind of like, where's my MTG? And then Jack hit me up, and he's like, hey, I'm sending that back. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I loaned it out to Jack. So yeah, well, so the other normal G-Shock square I have, which is a 5610, is probably buried in the center console of my work van. I'm almost certain that's where it is. I almost always have one of those just sitting around somewhere. So um, I should probably go double check that because I'm assuming it's there. It might not actually be there. I don't know where it's at. Wow. I know I didn't answer everybody's question. I tried to keep up. I'm gonna probably go for like a few more minutes, guys. If you have any questions you want me to throw at me, I'll try to get them. But yeah, the metal G Shocks, I'm a little less prone. I mean, because this is like a $500 watch. So I think once you're getting up in the upper end of my comfort zone, then this ends up in my watch box. It doesn't end up in the cup holder or something. You know what I mean? So that's just the way it is. So Ma asked if do I think the resin or standard um, G-Shock Square is less durable than the metal one? I would say yes and no. I would say no, that both of them are going to be able to hold up to any sort of abuse that you're going to be able to do regardless and still perform their function, which is timekeeping or whatever you're going to do. I would say that the resin one, and again, this is going to be biased. I think the resin one looks better beat up than maybe the metal one. I think when you start hammering and beating up the metal one, it's going to look not as cool. I don't want to say like nice, because like a beat up resin type G-Shock, I don't think it looks cool. It just looks kind of normal or expected, I guess. Whereas if you have the metal one and it's kind of shiny and stuff like that, when you start getting it all beat up and scratched and everything like that, it still might look cool, but it just doesn't look as good, I guess. Whereas a beat up resin G Shock, I still kind of am just like, that's fine. Like this one has, I end up getting some of that bug spray on there. Um, I instantly remember exactly why and how that happened, and I remember it was a midnight run kayaking down the river, and the bugs were atrocious, and I coated myself with bug spray, and the watch, this ended up happening. So I remember that trip. Yeah, I had my family with me and everything, so um, that's fine. So that's my thoughts on the resin versus the metal. Oh, so which one should you get? You have to get which one you want to get. That's and for me, the answer is both. So maybe so here, okay, so maybe do this. If you are intrigued and interested in the metal one, get the metal one, but also I don't know where you live, but like in the United States, you can get the 5600E, which is their base model G-Shock Square, and there's nothing wrong with it. And quite frankly, it's probably really the best one to buy. Is basically around 40, somewhere between 35 and $45, somewhere in there, and it has the regular strap. So maybe buy that one and wear that one, like you're gonna go exploring, climbing rocks over a waterfall or something like that, where it's inevitably going to get banged up, wear that one. And then, yeah, if you already have one, then just keep that one, but get the metal one. Like the metal one's pretty dope. I couldn't imagine not having this. Like, actually, I'll probably wear this one tomorrow because we're talking about it. So, and I haven't worn it in a while. So, although I kind of want to wear this VHP because I just had that on wrist. And I know Homer won't care. Maybe I'll wear that tomorrow. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'm trying to get better at wearing Safe Queen. No. It's not my none of my watches are Safe Queen watches. But I am extremely easy on my watches. Like I have worn this watch working. And if you looked really hard, there's probably some scratches. I don't understand like hey, thanks, Wyoming. I don't understand. Yeah, he made protector film for the. Oh, so Wyoming's saying he made. I've actually I'm aware of those. So there's, and I think you can get them from other watches too. You just need to know your crystal size. So they make protective screen coatings for like G-Shocks, all different kinds of G-Shocks. They probably make them for all different kinds, and it would basically be not like probably not too much different than protective screen coating you'd put like on your phone. So um, I think in many cases for many people it could be a good investment, especially if you can remove them and replace them. So if you're more prone to scratching your non-sapphire crystal type watches, some of those protective coatings, I maybe I should bring some in and test them. I don't know. That might be a good idea. I'd be willing to do that. Maybe test those because I did have the 5600E. This one's clean, but I did have a 5600E that got exposed to a bunch of chemical, and then really what ended up damaging the screen, and maybe that protective film would have helped, maybe it wouldn't have, was some welding slag. I was cutting, grinding, and welding new floor pans in a Jeep Wrangler, and it ended up getting like one little piece of slag in the I don't want to say crystal, but this is like some sort of plastic screen over there. It may or may not have protected that. I don't know because it was hot. So, but a scratch, it would probably protect it. Thanks, Blue Sky. I appreciate that. So, I just tossed this on, but all day long I did wear the. It's upstairs somewhere. I wore my Pro Trek Safari, which has the um, glow band on it. I don't know how else to say it. It's illuminated band and it glows like all night long. It's pretty crazy. If you guys are loom nuts or you want your watch to just glow like mad, get one of these Protrax 650s, the 7000 or something like that. They're awesome. They're nuts. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go for like one more minute because that's like an hour long live stream, probably the longest one I've done. Steinhardt Ocean One Vintage Dual Time Pan Am. Awesome looking watch. Um, I prefer like that Steinhardt, the 500 titanium. I really do like that one. Um, they're all great watches. If you're good, if they fit your wrist really good, if you've tried the Steinhardt, then I would definitely do that. I think that watch works really good. I really like the Squale as well. Um, wow, down in the Caribbean, that's awesome. Oh, you can't find that? Wyoming, I'll try to get you a link. They should be on eBay. I think I bought mine on eBay. I think I paid just under $200. They might be trending at over $200, but I'll put a link in the description to the Glowband Casio Pro Trek in the description. I'll put a link in the description of this video once it uploads to the watch event show in Chicago. So if you do happen to look back, or you don't even have to like watch the video, obviously, but just click on the video and I'll have the links in the description because I'll try to do those. So all the way down to New Zealand. So Billy Bob, awesome to hear from you. Yeah. So like just over an hour now. So I'm gonna sign off because I got to wrap stuff up. I still have to try to. I got all the watches boxed up from the Sunday sale, but mail wasn't running today, so I gotta finish boxing those up and ship those out. So all right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna sign off. I'll see you tomorrow on the next video.